Attention!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face. Ah!
Hello, everybody. It's the morning time, and it's the Film Majors here to make you smile.
You know, it's funny. Zach has been on this like high pitch falsetto singing kick. And right before we started recording, Zach told me to get out, and it's funny that he then comes in with that energy. It's ironic.
Yeah, I flipped it right around.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Film Majors. I'm Zach.
I'm Mick.
I'm Alexis.
Hi, Alexis. How are you doing?
Sleepy girl.
Alexis is a sleepy girl.
Yeah, she's a sleepy. You're working 7 days a week now, right?
Indeed.
Wow.
I go to work at 6:30 in the morning, and I try to leave by 10.
Oh.
I do actually. I am curious about that. Why do you do this? Like, you're
well,
working
I
3
have-
jobs, right?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So I have my regular part-time job doing payroll for, like, remotely, which is, like, anywhere between, like, 15 to 20 hours, like, during just regular season, not quarterlies, which is, like, 25 to 30 hours a week. And then I have my seasonal job that's really big right now, just for, like, the next, like, 4 to 5 weeks. And that's, like, anywhere between 40 to 60 hours a week, depending on the busy week. And then we are doing that company that we're doing the seasonal job for a favor, because the woman that normally checks, like, the paperwork that our company turns into their company, her husband has cancer. And so she's been, like, taking care of him. They both work for the company, and normally she checks the paperwork and he, checks the fields and, like, keeps up with all that stuff. And so he has cancer, and so we're doing her work for her this season, because he just requires a lot of care right now. So.
And then you
Wow.
also have your Film Majors job.
Wow.
Job number 4.
Job number 4, guys.
Well,
Alexis, drop that
crazy.
Venmo in the show notes. Everybody help her out.
Jesus.
I'm like, someone buy me a coffee.
Wow. Three jobs. That's crazy. It begs the question, what is going on?
Wow.
Smooth.
That was a very,
Smooth.
very long setup. to
Got
that.
right into it.
Yeah.
Got right
so,
into it.
my fellow film majors, other than working because people get cancer, why are we here? Why are we here together?
Well,
we're here to discuss movies
We are here to discuss
Indeed.
movies
that we've seen.
since the last time we recorded.
That's right. And, well, Alexis, Zach, Mick, that's me. What have we seen? What have we seen? Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. That's what the fans are here for.
I've seen a few new releases. I don't know about you, Alexis.
I've seen absolutely no new releases, but I did get to see one movie last Sunday before shit hit the fan.
And what was that?
My last, like, half day off before shit hit the fan, and I saw The Phantom Menace in theaters.
Ooh, interesting choice for your one movie. And what'd you think?
Well, because that was the only Star Wars movie they were showing in theaters, and it was, like, the day after May the 4th, and I was like, shut up, Zach. For our listeners, you can't see, but Zach is shaking his head at me.
And Zach, I literally said, May the 4th be with you, and you looked at me like I was an asshole. And here we are talking about Phantom Menace. Now who's the asshole? Who is the asshole now? Alexis, take it away.
Now,
Let's
can
get with
I
the
say
force.
that this movie's, like, a great movie? Maybe not. The CGI is pretty bad. I think it's not that the CGI itself is, like, terrible, but that it doesn't fit the look of the real life world. Like, they don't blend together well.
No.
And so it's very jarring. Speaking of jarring, Jar Jar.
Yeah, that was a great
Smooth and buttery.
segue.
I feel so bad for the guy who was the actor for Jar Jar, because he got so much shit for being that character. And I'm like, I don't know, what did you want the guy to do? That's what's probably written in the script. Sounds ridiculous. Sounds infantile. He's an idiot.
Racist.
Yeah,
super racist.
It speaks to just, I'm not a fan of the Star
The
Wars
indigenous
fan
community of this world can't speak right. Why would you do that, George Lucas? Why?
George, listen. I do not particularly like the Star Wars prequels, but I will say every now and again, usually late at night with some friends, I do get a hankering to throw one of the prequels on because
It's a friends movie.
They're fun. They're not
You
good.
watch it with a group of people.
That's exactly it. Like I found out that they were showing it in theaters, and I was like, went over to my nephew and I was like, hey, I don't know any other losers like me that will go and see this with me. So will you take pity on me and see this with me?
The funny. Go ahead.
But so then I was like, they're really not, they're not that bad. I enjoy them. I personally kind of enjoy them. I think they're, like you said, Zach, I think they're fun. I love the costuming for Padme Amidala. I don't know. I really like it. Like, I love that it's kind of got this like kabuki kind of look to it. And also the fight scene between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon is actually kind of cool.
No, that one's an all-timer.
Yeah, that one's a really good one. And I mean, like, bummer summer, but I was telling my nephew, I was like, I do enjoy this movie, but I really wish they had played one of the other two prequels so that I could have seen Daddy One Kenobi, because he's really just, he's still technically like mainly just a Padawan.
Yeah, he's got the rat tail still in this.
Yeah, he's got the rat tail. He doesn't have like the beard and like the say-so. I don't know. So, and then my nephew was just like, ugh.
Yeah, I maintain that the prequels, I will still watch the prequels before I see the sequels. But that's really not saying a lot.
Some of them.
That's not saying that for me. It's most of them.
It's
all of them. I think.
For me, I would watch The Last Jedi before any of. Way to invoke a movie that's gonna get the biggest freaks on the internet mad.
Yeah, see, I've kind of cooled off to that whole thing because I just don't care anymore. But I will say the prequels.
The follow up to it is so bad.
The prequels, I do really like the politics of it. Like, I find the politics of what's happening with the Galactic Senate and all of that stuff pretty interesting.
Yeah,
and
the
also,
fact that
Phantom of the Menace has a young Keira Knightley, which I always forget.
It
Super young.
does. I also feel really bad for the little kid in the
Jake
Phantom
Lloyd.
Menace because he also got a lot of flack for his role in
the
it.
fan
And I'm
base
just like,
is
he's just
awful.
a kid. I think he did perfectly fine, to be honest.
Yeah, I
can't go with you.
I'm gonna lay the problems
go down
with
that hole with you, Alexis.
squarely at George Lucas.
I mean,
that's the thing. It's not the
I don't
actor's
think he did a
fault.
bad thing. I don't think he did bad, but I also think that it's not really all of his fault. I think that there's
That's a better way of saying it.
Yeah,
It's not all of his fault.
But that's why I feel that way, is because to me, I can see the context of like, even for like a more like seasoned like actor, the stuff is kind of wordy and a little awkward. The writing is a little weird, clearly. I don't know. So, and I kind of feel the same way about Hayden Christensen, like I think it's unfair that he got so much flack for everything, because some of the stuff I'm just like, he just wasn't as well seasoned an actor as some of the other people on there, and I'm not quite sure that he had a lot to go on with the script. I'm not sure that he's really was strong enough of an actor to make up for what the script was giving him.
Well, this is a nice way for me to transition into that. This summer, I'm going to do a reverse Obi-Wan. I've got long hair and a beard right now. Gonna go get my hair cut, get my beard shaved off, and I'm gonna grow a little rat tail.
Gross.
So that's just my summer 2024.
Why would
plan.
you do that?
Just for
it.
evil.
I
want
wanna see the rat
to
tail.
be evil.
No, I
Because
was
I'm
gonna
going
say-
to a wedding this summer.
I was going to say, I can see the rat tail, but keep the beard.
I've
don't
always
shave your
wanted a rat
face.
tail
You've always wanted one?
ever since high school. Yeah.
Oh, God, you would have been one of those kids. Oh, man.
I knew a kid who had a rat
No,
tail.
I did too.
He was a white South Africaner.
Interesting. The kids I knew with the white tails is going to get a little classist
tails?
here. Well, that's the thing. They were all little white kids that were not from well-to-do families.
Yeah.
It's getting a little classist. I don't mean it like that.
Okay, and let's even it out. The white South African kid was rich.
Okay, that's weird.
He was a weird kid.
But that's
Is
interesting,
that weird?
Alexis, that you wanted one since high school. Because usually by the
yeah,
time
'cause
that's more of an elementary school thing, isn't it?
So the only movie that I had seen up until high school was A New Hope. That was the
That's
only
the
Star Wars
only
movie
movie.
I had.
Oh.
That was the only Star Wars movie I'd ever seen. Like I think we stole a VHS tape of A New Hope from Blockbuster because like we never gave it back. That's why I say like we stole it.
They would steal the VHS. They did. And we'll do it again.
Like I think because my nephew Noah, for some reason, that he really likes Star Wars: A New Hope. So the reason why I'd seen it was because he had wanted to rent it when we were kids,
Right.
And then we never gave it back to Blockbuster, I guess, and they never asked for it back. And then they went out of business eventually. So then it was like, well, don't have to give that back.
You might have
wait them out.
You might have been the first stone cast in the pond that brought down Blockbuster.
Yeah, it wasn't
started
Netflix.
with that missing
It was
VHS.
Alexis.
It's that domino
that was an
effect.
accident. Okay.
I honestly, that's like that. What's that? The butterfly effect, where
Yeah,
Alexis went
yeah.
back in time and stole one VHS from Blockbuster,
Changed
and then she
all
goes
of
back
history.
and I was like, "Wait, where is Blockbuster? They collapsed. Something happened in the past that brought them all down. Was that me? Well, that's great. I'm glad you saw Phantom Menace. I enjoy that movie. I'm not gonna lie.
It's
not
probably
good,
it's
but
the
it's fun.
prequel that when I feel like watching the prequels, Alexis, I'm kind of with you. I put
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
least.
Weird. I'd say hot take. When I'm craving a prequel, is it Attack of the Clones or the Clone Wars?
Attack of the Clones.
I watch Attack of the Clones, which a lot of people agree is the worst.
It might be.
and I think I might be one of those people that agrees with it. But I'm sorry, there's something about that movie, man, that just dig it.
Is that the one where they're in love, or is that
Yes.
like? Oh, that one has some of the best costumes, though.
Yeah,
Like,
it also has
So good.
the moment where Anakin hates sand.
Yes. Okay, you're kind of helping me with my case here.
Here's my before we talk about some of the new releases we've seen, because I've seen two. I just want to say, here's my hot Star Wars prequel take. Everyone is like, oh, Revenge of the Sith is the best one. Revenge of the Sith is the best
I
one.
watch
It's
it the
so
least.
It's so much better. It is. That's probably the one I watch the most. It is not so much better than
Right.
the other two prequels.
It's overhyped.
That movie.
Yeah.
It's because that movie is still a bad movie.
It's because people like General Grievous. That's it.
I listen, me too. But like that movie is still has all the
Hello
insane
there.
shit and the weird pacing of
Yeah.
all the other prequels. The framing, there are two shots that I think about whenever I think about Revenge of the Sith, and it's right before Obi-Wan and General Grievous have like the last leg of their fight, and you get like a close up on General Grievous's eyes, and it's like, then you are doomed. And then you get a close-up on Obi-Wan's eyes, but they're like framed off right, and there's so much space on the side of his head, and it feels like a fucking mistake. It looks awful. And he just goes, oh, I don't think so. It's crazy.
I will say, I was talking to our roommate Jacoby about this a few days ago, but about Attack of the Clones. Yeah, not a good movie, but I will fucking die on this hill that one of the coolest battles ever put to film is after the gladiator fight at the end of that movie, and the clone armies show up, like the cavalry with Yoda, and they're blasting like those kind of like mock-up Death Stars that are like kind of like shooting off into the sky, and all the dust is there and the lasers are going through. That shit is so off the chain. Every time I watch it, I think this is so beautifully choreographed and orchestrated. It looks fantastic, and the visual effects are tight as fuck. Alexis, take it away.
Here's what I love about the prequel movies is the fact that to be honest, sometimes when I think back on it, I don't even remember what happens in them. Which might be a testament to how, like, maybe not great they are. But it's like every time I watch it, I'm just like, oh, yeah. That's what happens. You know, like, it's new every time.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's just like, it's exactly.
Whereas
like,
with the original trilogy, it's like, oh, I know exactly what happens in those movies, you know, from like start to finish, you know, and definitely in the sequel movies, I definitely know what happens in those ones because I have a very vested interest.
That was a good pun. I like it.
But, you know, the prequels, it's just, you know, it's like having a new experience every time.
They are truly...
Not a fantastic one, but...
They are truly the jangling keys in front of a baby's face, you know, of blockbuster cinema.
It's interesting. Like, I think out of all of the hot takes that we just shared, I think, Alexis, I'm with you the most. I think that's the best take, because it's absolutely true. Every time I watch the prequels, I'm like, wait, what? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, isn't that interesting?
When you were talking right now, Mick, I was like... Is that what happens in Attack of the Clones?
It does.
Why don't I remember that? We literally watched the whole, like, 9 episodes, like, literally, like, 2 years ago, Mick, like, together, all 9 of them.
It's to Zach's point. The reason I remember that the most, the reason I actually remember that is because all of the bright lights. It's because of the lasers going through the dust. It's all the colorful lights. I'm like, that's cool.
Them keys are getting fucking jangled for you.
Oh, man. George Lucas, you double-necked man, we love you. Well, I don't know if we love you, but
the thing
respect you.
The thing about Star Wars is that it's poetry. It rhymes.
Is that Jimmy Stewart?
Kind of. Okay, I saw 2 new movies, and I think we saw the same.
Yes, we both saw 2 new movies. Let's go with the first one.
The Fall Guy.
Yeah, we saw The Fall Guy. Alexis, have you seen? No, you haven't. You said you only saw Phantom Menace.
You got no time. You got no time.
What did you think?
I really enjoyed The Fall Guy. I don't think it's incredible, but like I came out of that movie feeling like if we were living in the blockbuster climate of the 1990s, then there would be like 6 movies with a similar like formula to The Fall Guy that were out in theaters this summer, and of those 6, 2 of them would be awesome. As it stands, we have The Fall Guy, which is good.
I agree.
And it made me long for more movies like The Fall Guy. I think, you know, if Shane Black directed The Fall Guy, I would love it. It feels very Shane Black in its construction of like kind of a washed up loser in LA having to you know, pick himself back up and solve a mystery. The movie does not take place in LA, but, you know, he works in the movies. And it's definitely my David. It's my favorite David Leitch movie. We covered Bullet Train in our best of 2022. I personally did not think it was one of the best of 2022.
Alexis is giving 2 thumbs up like a stuntman. She's giving the stuntman thumbs.
But I really like this movie. I think he has redeemed himself for me. It's charming. It's a movie with reasonably low stakes for a blockbuster summer action movie.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's about 2 gorgeous movie stars with good chemistry and, you know, are they going to get together at the end of the film, and are they going to stop the bad guy? And it loves the culture of being on set.
Yeah, I will say I agree with that. I agree with. I did not like Bullet Train at all. Like that movie really bugged me.
You guys are killing me.
but David Leitch, yeah, I think he really does a good job here, and I like your point. Like the world is not at risk here. It's its own small contained story, and that's totally fine.
It's nice. It's good
nice.
stakes.
And it's personal to the characters. And
are they gonna kiss at the end?
And if we like the characters, then we care. It doesn't have to be this massive jeopardy. What I really like about this movie is I realized about halfway through that this is 100% tailor-made to be a Ryan Reynolds movie. Like this is a Ryan Reynolds character. And somewhere in production, something happened where a mistake was made, and thank God it happened because they accidentally cast Ryan Gosling. And it's so much better. Like I was picturing this movie with Ryan Reynolds. And yeah, I'm not a big Ryan Reynolds fan, but yes, he has his fan base and he is charming and outgoing and stuff. But I'm so happy because he sells the jokes more.
Well, and the difference in if this was a Ryan Reynolds movie, not to rip on Ryan Reynolds as we love to do,
yeah,
but Ryan Reynolds' whole like movie star persona, especially since Deadpool, is ironic detachment.
Right.
And Ryan Gosling is such an earnest actor.
Yeah, he
cares. That's why Barbie's so good, is he is committed 1000% to being Ken. So he, like, even when he's, like, playing a character who's, like, telling jokes in this, dire action film where the stakes are high for him,
he cares.
He feels like he's genuinely in danger and he cares. Sorry, Alexis, you were going to say.
I have multiple points to make. Number one, I did read your review, Zach, and I immediately thought, oh, I would probably really like this movie.
I think you would.
My second point is that you referred to the Ryan Gosling fan club, of which I am a fan. I'm also in the Ryan Reynolds fan club. And I would like to make a correction in that the ironic detachment has been around since he really started acting.
Fair enough.
It didn't really come about because of Deadpool. He was really very similar to that. And if you watch like any of his like early comedies in like the very like 2002 and 2005, it is very like that kind of like sassy, ironic detachment. And what was my other point? Oh yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm just so sick and tired of the he, she, will they, or won't they? Where is the gay boy action? Will they or won't they? I want to see two hot, ripped men. I don't even really like ripped men, but like that's what I want to see. I want to see this representation. I want to see something like The Fall Guy. I want to see an action-y blockbuster, but I want it to be, will these two men make out at the end of this movie? So maybe this is just like...
Isn't that kind of gay?
God, what the fuck, dude? No, I'm with you. I feel
as
like
Top Gun would teach us, it's not gay, it's masculine.
That's goddamn
especially
right.
if they don't make out at the end. It was never gay. It was just masculine.
It was never gay.
I'm already
so
picturing
gay.
it. I'm already picturing it. I know that Glenn Powell would be one of them. I know Glenn Powell would be one of the gay boys in this action film. Who would the other? Okay, Glenn Powell. Who would we pair him up with?
I'm not writing fan fiction with you right now.
Alexis,
God, I will.
We'll CC each other on an email. We'll get this ball rolling.
Write in filmmagerspod@gmail.com. Who do you want to see Glenn Powell smooch in an action movie?
Who do you want him
Must
to kiss?
be a man.
Must be a hot man.
Richard Kind. We also saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Well, hold on. I'm not done yet.
You're not done with the Fall Guy?
I'm not done with the Fall Guy
Speed
yet.
it up, motherfucker!
So, the Fall Guy does a thing that I really appreciate that we all lament not happening in movies anymore, which is giving us a like stunts, outtakes, blooper reel during the end credits, and I really appreciated that. And Zach, you mentioned that this is kind of like a salute to the film industry. And quite often, as someone who works on set, I know we all do in one capacity or another. It's odd to me that so often movies that are about making movies don't get the set lingo or the set dynamics right, which is weird. Because they should know, like, it's not a hard thing to do. And it's like, and I would imagine that at the end of the day, they're like, well, how detailed, how accurate do we need to be? No one gives a fucking shit. Main audiences aren't going to get it. Let's just give them what they kind of think a film set's like. Alexis, yeah?
I think, because I was recently on a set where this kind of thing was kind of happening, where I was like, well, that's not exactly how they would do it actually on set.
Right.
But you know what? I'm not gonna, like, I'm not here to rewrite this person's script or anything,
Right.
obviously. Usually the writer is film adjacent, and either they're an actor or they're a writer. And they're not actually, because a lot of actors aren't on set at all times,
Right.
and they're not in the mix of everything, and neither is the writer.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that are actually writing the script aren't really in the know-how of it.
They don't know what they're talking
I mean,
about.
I know that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally buy that. And I think partly why this movie achieves, I think, a very accurate, entertaining, hilarious look at behind the scenes, how a set runs, is because David Leitch is a director, but former stunt coordinator. He's
Yeah.
a crew member who is now directing movies.
He was the fall guy.
There's this one scene, and this is not spoiling anything. There's this one little throwaway scene that I laughed so hard with, and I know that there were other people in the cinema that were crew people because we all laughed
I had the same
at
experience.
at this joke, but like no one else did. It's where Ryan Gosling's character, he's just sitting like on his trailer steps, and there's a base camp PA who's talking to him going, "What are you talking about? I gave you a breakfast wrap." And he goes, "I don't know if that's really breakfast. I think that's a meal penalty. What, don't you think?" And if you don't know what that means, you don't have to. But
You don't work on set.
You don't work
fine.
on set, it's fine.
It's not important.
but I just, that little thing, I was like, that didn't need to be in there, but it is, and I appreciate
No,
it.
literally, I saw this. I saw the Fall Guy on May the 4th when it came out. It was an afternoon screening, and it was like, not super full. But when that line happened, most of the theater was silent. The two guys sitting directly behind me and me busted a gut at that, and I was like, okay, I see who else is having a tough 2024 when it comes to working on set.
Totally.
So,
But yeah, Emily Blunt, I want to give her a shout out really quickly.
Oh, she's
she
great.
is
Charming.
so wonderful.
charming.
And yeah, she's so good. She absolutely fucking carries her weight in the movie, and as does Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Alexis's boy.
Alexis, you're gonna really like this movie.
You know,
You're really gonna like it.
Not so. I wouldn't even say he's 100% mine, because clearly he belongs to the whole world at this point.
Belongs to
but
the
my
streets.
friend, she who shall not be named on this podcast, she loves him so much.
Well,
So
tell her to go see The Fall Guy.
Yeah, positively.
I will.
So yes, we saw
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes, I really liked it. In fact, I went into it with tempered expectations because I haven't allowed myself to get... It's kind of weird, this relationship I've had with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I haven't allowed myself to get excited about it. I didn't really watch that many trailers unless it played in front of a movie I was going to see. I didn't let myself get hype because I really like the original trilogy. And to that point, I really like the Matt Reeves movies.
Yeah.
I don't love the first one, but I understand why it's there, and it's a fine enough film. It's pretty good.
And as a whole, they tell a
Totally.
complete character arc for Caesar.
And even to that, I do like the Matt Reeves film, but I'm not super hot on War of the Planet of the Apes, particularly the ending. It kind of falls apart for me in the third act a little bit. So if I'm being completely honest. So this movie, though, I was worried was going to be a forgettable footnote in an otherwise really solid trilogy. I thought it was just going to be a bit of a shameless cash grab that wasn't going to justify its existence. And I am happy to dispel those fears. I think while it's not as good as the Matt Reeves movies, I think it totally justifies its existence. I think the VFX that Weta Digital does is mind-boggling. No one does fur like Weta.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of scenes where like, let's throw a CGI ape into a river.
Yeah.
Let's get it wet. Let's do that to our workload. Human characters wasn't super hot on. I didn't super love that part, but it's an apes road trip movie. I really liked how it explored systems of oppression, government, religion, what it has to say kind of about martyrdom and stuff. I liked it. I think it's definitely solid. Zach, what did you think?
I had more complicated feelings on it.
Okay.
I did like it. All those things that you said are true. It is an impressively made movie. It has stuff on its mind. It's definitely not geared towards a young child audience.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I feel like in an era of a lot of, comic book movies that are geared at all ages. This is a little more meditative. I think I'm just kind of sick of franchise building. I don't think that it's necessarily anything this movie does wrong. But as we were getting towards the end, I was like, I don't super care about our main ape character either. It feels like we've,
Really?
Yeah, we've sort of
okay.
set him in a place where, like, okay, now he's gonna go on a journey. Now he's gonna start to grow into something. And I just, once we got to the end, I was like, okay, we're setting up a new trilogy, and I don't really care.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it made me appreciate the Fall Guy more. I walked out of this movie being like, I don't think that broadly this is what I want from a blockbuster anymore.
Right. So you think you've changed?
I don't think that the movie is necessarily bad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad at all. I think there's a lot of really fun stuff in it. But yeah, I don't know. I think if it's not directed by James Cameron and full of blue people, I think I'm kind of done with extremely CGI heavy blockbuster sci-fi franchises.
Interesting. See, I think it justifies itself because of, like, first of all, kind of like with the Fall Guy, the stakes here are arguably maybe a little bigger, but it's not like the fate of the world hinges on this. It is a bit of a small little pocket story. And I like, when you say franchise building, I totally get what you mean. I agree with you in that aspect of, like, the very end.
And it feels like it's taking the series back to a place we've been at. Like, I don't...
How so?
Okay, moderate spoilers. I don't want the conflict to be with people. I'm so sick of people in my monkey movies.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, it feels like that story was really well told over 3 movies.
Right.
And it feels like now, like, okay, we're hundreds of years in the future, and we are setting up the same conflict that we had in the past 3 movies. Get ready for it.
Right. I can see that.
So, yeah.
But that was partly why I appreciated this movie, was because so much of the conflict was ape versus ape.
Yeah, I thought that was
good. Which is
good.
the strongest bit. But I do agree with you. When you get to the end shots of, like, the deserts of New Mexico, if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. I went, oh, that's what this is. Okay. But to be fair, I am excited for the next installment. Like, I am there for it. And I think partly what I appreciated about this movie is kind of like what Alfonso Cuarón is credited with doing, and rightfully so, with the Harry Potter world, which is the first 2 movies were very typical Hollywood movie. And then he comes in, directs his part of the saga, and now suddenly the aesthetics, the vibe, the mood of it completely changes, and the following directors carried that same
vibe
torch
forward,
throughout the rest of the movies, and that's what Matt Reeves did with these films. And I like that Wes Ball is his name.
Yes.
I like that Wes Ball basically just carries the same vibe that Matt Reeves brings, which is a very, in terms of the pacing and the energy, of course, there's big action sequences, but it's very considered breaths. It's very considered pacing. It's not rushing to the end. And I liked that. I liked that this was a movie I could sit with and just kind of watch them go. But honestly, Zach, I think we both agree, really. I think I liked it a little bit more than you did, but as you gave it 3.5, as I said, it's ping-ponging between 3.5 and a 4 for me.
Yeah, I think the reason that it sits at a 3.5 for me is I do agree. I like that it's, a more considered pace, but I think you could shave a little bit off the opening of that movie. And yeah, I think I didn't like it more than The Fall Guy. The Fall Guy gave me more of what I wanted from a summer blockbuster and more of what I would like to see going forward.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't know. I want to see a movie with movie stars, I think. I think
you're done with the apes.
I think I might be done with the apes.
Really?
Yeah, it's tough.
See, when I watched it,
I love monkeys.
Well, what's interesting is as I was watching, we're going to make a similar joke later with the movie we're talking about, but I don't feel like these are actors in mocap. Like, I feel like they are monkeys.
Yeah, no, they're good performances.
No, they're great performances, and I was looking at the cast list, and more or less they're names that I don't really recognize.
Yeah,
and I thought, isn't that cool? This gives an opportunity for actors that may not have a quote unquote household name, but if they're a damn good actor, let's give them a shot, and let's put them in mocap and see what they can do, and then maybe their career can go from there. Or it can go the Andy Serkis route.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing either. But I thought the performances were fantastic. Really cool. But I get what you're saying. We love a movie star. So in other words, I think what we're really saying is buy your tickets for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 as soon as you can. Because movie stars are not dead.
Dun, 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 dun. We gotta kill the entity. We gotta get him.
We really do.
That's a bad guy. And finally, speaking of movie stars, I did see one other new release, and it was The Idea of You.
What'd you think?
That's all right. I feel weird criticizing The Idea of You because I'm 100% not the target audience for that movie.
I think that what you need to do is just not take it seriously when you watch it, and then you'll have like a decent time. You'll have a good time. It has very low stakes, and it is a fan fiction, and it is clearly a fan fiction, and it is clearly like a Harry Styles like insert. But I was talking to my sister about this the other day. I was like, Nicholas Galitzine does not have like the star charisma that like Harry Styles has. And
no, but he's a way better actor.
Oh yeah, he's a better actor, but he does not have like he's on the stage in the movie. I'm like, I don't buy that he's really like a pop star.
I mean, this comes back to what we discussed last time in terms of like the music that's supposed to be like the big hit thing in a movie not actually being like making sense as that. But listen, okay, here's my 2 cents on The Idea of You. That movie is too long. It repeats its beats. It basically just does the same thing twice, and it doesn't need to be almost 2 hours long. And 2, Anne Hathaway is the wrong person to cast in this film. Alexis, you are absolutely right. Anne Hathaway
she's way
too fucking hot.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves with certain movies. Like when they did a remake of Carrie, I'm like, why are you casting hot people in the world of people that are like bullied and shit? It doesn't make sense.
And it's like, I'm this middle-aged mother who feels kind of insecure about dating this young pop star.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anne Hathaway's the fucking...
She is hotter than the pop star she's dating.
Okay, but also, I sent Mick this, but it was like a video that was like when Anne Hathaway's character lives in Silver Lake, owns an art gallery, and drives a Subaru, and her romantic lead is not a woman.
It needs a rewrite. It needs a gay rewrite.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, if you're looking for, a romance film, and this feels like it'd be your kind of thing, I think you'll probably enjoy it. I've seen worse versions of this kind of movie that don't have Anne Hathaway in them.
Yeah.
So I am grateful that she's in it, but it is extremely funny casting.
It is, but also I would just like to preface whatever criticisms I have just laid against this movie with, I had a blast watching this with my sister. I was cracking jokes the whole time. It was very fun for me. So...
Yeah, I had a fun time watching it too. It's
you can't take that away from Alexis, Zach, so don't even try.
Exactly.
I'm not.
I can see you trying.
I said I had a fun time watching
Put
it
the
too.
hooks down.
Okay. Well, those are all the new releases I watched. I watched a couple of older movies as well and didn't like either of them.
Oh, yeah.
With Mick.
Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat and then
Surf Nazis Must Die. I thought they were both quite bad in different ways.
I would say Lifeboat, I totally see what you're saying, Zach. I just found that a little disappointing. That's like a middle of the road meh for me.
Hated Lifeboat.
The problem with you in that movie is you fundamentally reject the premise.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the movie does.
No, about 20 minutes in, I'm like,
You're not going to like it.
This movie should be over.
Yeah.
And it continues.
So for those of you that are curious.
Similar to the idea of you, actually,
Yeah.
it does the same thing twice. But
you're not-
it's way more fucking egregious in Lifeboat.
Yeah, if I may, if you're not familiar with Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat, happy boat month. But it's about a lifeboat during World War II after I think a Liberty ship or something like that, or a British ship just was blown up by a German U-boat.
Yeah, it was in a fight with a U-boat.
And then the German
both boats
U-boat
went down.
Yeah, and the lifeboat is full of survivors, and one of the survivors is a German crew member. And
Who
then,
you find out so shortly is the captain.
yeah, and then the
The
movie
guy
just...
who blew up their boat.
And then the rest of the movie is kind of attempting to be suspense about, what's going to happen, how is this going to go wrong. Because you know it's going to go wrong, you
And
just
it
don't know
goes wrong
how.
kind of early because someone goes missing off of the boat, and you find out that the German captain has been lying to the crew, to everybody else, about having a compass.
See, I had more fun with the process of the movie. I was curious to see where it was
And
going.
it's not like you, the audience, find that out. The characters find that out. And they don't dump him the fuck overboard.
That's because you're prejudiced, Zach.
Against the Nazis. Yeah, I am.
So anyways...
This is how mad I was during the movie.
Yeah, I think that if you're a Alfred Hitchcock fan and you haven't seen it, I think you should check it out. I think it's pretty. Ignore Zach.
I think if you're an Alfred Hitchcock fan, you should fucking skip it because it sucks doo doo.
Yeah. Don't let Zach's bad energy affect your own opinion. Check it out for yourself.
Let the bad movie affect your opinion.
Think for yourself.
Boo.
But yeah, we saw that and Surf Nazis Must Die, which is also
bad. Way
not a
too
good
much
movie.
surfing, not enough Nazis dying.
I have a little interesting experience before we hop out of what's going on. I ran into one of those guys.
Oh, who'd you run into?
So I'm going to say the name Adam Godley. You're not going to know who that is, but if you look up Adam Godley, you're going to go, oh, that guy.
You got a picture of him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, yeah, what's he been in?
He was the owner of Gray Matter in Breaking Bad.
Oh, shit. He was, yeah.
Yeah, so he's in a bunch of like TV shows and shit. He was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, A Young Doctor's Notebook, a bunch of shit. But yeah, I was walking to Gelson's with my girlfriend, and I just kind of like look up, just like I do when I'm watching a movie, and I look up and I go, huh, that's that guy. But then I remember, oh, this is real life.
This is a human being.
And then one last bit of news that I'm really excited for. This is just current events news and stuff, but we continue to talk about Robert Downey Jr.'s post-Marvel renaissance that he's going through.
Can't wait for the next episode of The Sympathizer, baby.
Oppenheimer, The Sympathizer, and then now news broke on Deadline. I don't know if he's going to be in it, but him and his wife are producing a long-lost movie that was in development with Steve McQueen called Yucatan, which is a treasure hunting movie that Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Downey are pairing up with Steve McQueen's son to bring it back to life. So they're financing it, and I got chills just now talking about it. I hope Robert Downey Jr. is in it, but I'm like, fuck, dude, you're doing like an independent like treasure hunt movie?
Hey,
let's do it.
Downeys, while you're at it, why don't you help your friend Shane out and produce The Nice Guys too? All right, okay.
And be the bad guy. Be
the bad guy in The Nice Guys too. All right, okay, I've said my piece. Do we have anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's hop out of what's going on.
Well, okay, do we need a water break?
I'm going to grab a little water.
Okay, we need a little water break because we have to remember, folks, and you, Alexis especially, because you've had a bad history of this. When you are out on the open sea, it doesn't matter how thirsty you get, do not drink the seawater. Do not drink the seawaters. So before we head out on the open sea, let's make sure we... yeah, you say that now, but Alexis, I always have to like slap the seawater out of your hand. I'm like, stop that. Don't do that.
I just like to dance with death a little.
You're so funny. Okay, no, but serious, guys. We need to survive this. We're out in the open waters. Okay.
Oh my God.
See, Alexis left because she's gonna go have some seawater.
Alexis left to go have some seawater. I'm not cutting any of this.
Good. Oh, she's back. She has her. Oh, that's a phone. That's not some seawater.
Well,
I'm proud of you.
Why are you bringing up seawater? What is that? What's that crashing over the waves?
Everybody hold tight, for we are no longer up the raging river. We are heading back out to the high seas.
During Boat Month.
It is Boat Month. Boat Month continues, folks.
And it's not fucking over because there's 5 Fridays this month, you idiots.
I am so... you have no idea how lucky I feel to have my birthday month, May, have 5 Fridays.
By the way,
Yes.
happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. That's right. This episode
Drops out on your actual birthday.
No, it doesn't, because my birthday's on Sunday. But thank
it's
you.
on Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah, you always forget that my birthday is your anniversary with your
I
girlfriend.
know that. I have my days mixed up.
Well, if you're celebrating your anniversary with a girlfriend, it's Sunday.
The 17th is when African Queen comes out. We're recording a little early.
Yep.
So, okay, it'll be the 24th that this episode is out.
So my birthth's in a few days.
Gotcha.
Thank you,
I know
Zach.
when your birthday is. I know
appreciate
when
it.
my anniversary is.
Well, it's funny that it's the same thing, isn't it? All right. But yeah, Boat Month is continuing, and I'm just having such a good time. And for this newest episode of Boat Month, I wanted to talk about something that I'm kind of amazed we haven't talked about before. Mainly because this is such an obvious... This might be the equivalent of low-hanging fruit when it comes to big topics. But I just wanted to ask, and listeners, if you have any of your own ideas, please send us in. But we're always talking about how good Hans Zimmer, the film composer, is. But what are some of the most underrated, some of the most underappreciated film scores or themes that Hans Zimmer has his name to?
No Batman, no Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's right. No Pirates of the Caribbean, no Batman, and you know what? I'm going to throw out Inception as well because that's obvious. That's an obvious pick.
You can't choose Dune either.
Yeah, Dune's also probably
So you can't
obvious.
do Dune, you can't do Batman, you can't do Inception, you can't do Pirates, and you can't do The Lion King.
Okay, fuck yeah. Okay, you haven't taken away my pick. I gotta get on it.
What is it?
Sherlock Holmes, baby.
I knew that was going to be your fucking pick. I knew it.
That was gonna be my pick as well.
Yeah,
that's such a good
there
score.
First, motherfuckers.
That is such a good score. That's not it at all. Listeners, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but you're going to listen to the film majors for the next few minutes, just like humming versions. No, guys. Like
I said.
Yeah, exactly. But I completely agree. Both the first movie and even I think the score he does for the second one, Game of Shadows, it might be even better.
We are big time Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes defenders.
We are huge Sherlock Holmes fans.
I would say defenders because I feel like those movies kind of get shit on.
You know what? Yeah, I agree.
I feel like I've heard, particularly like in the like film discussion-y space,
Those fucking nerds.
Yeah, these fucking nerds don't respect Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, I see people like criticize, especially a Game of Shadows, and I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, it's a fun fucking movie.
That movie is insane.
Yeah.
Like I mean that in a good way, so don't try to twist my fucking words. It's a really good film.
It has the juice.
You have Jared Harris as Moriarty.
Good casting.
Come on. What the fuck are you guys huffing? This is the best shit.
Anyways, but the score is very good.
Oh, it's fantastic. In fact, actually, there's what he does, especially, again, I'm going to bring up the second one, is Romani, like Romanian music. I'm not going to use...
Not Romanian, Romani music.
Romani. I'm going to use the G word. I'm not going to use it.
Good.
But he does this remix where he took a bunch of Romani musicians into the studio, and he does like this... almost like this house track bit where he edits this great, it's almost like a dance song, but it's with Romani music, and it's in, I think, the end credits, and it's so good. It fucking slaps, and I used to listen to it on my iPod all the time in shop class.
We're getting that third Sherlock Holmes movie any day now.
I'm
Any
nervous.
fucking day now.
I'm nervous for it.
It'll definitely happen.
So other than Sherlock Holmes, Alexis, do you have any picks?
I'm gonna say The Last Samurai.
Yes, good pick.
I've never seen it.
Have you heard it?
No.
Oh.
It is it's a really good score. I personally, the movie doesn't quite hold up to how I saw it as a child because it's inherently, well, we don't need to talk about it really.
I'll say it. It's white savior.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable. Because here's the thing, and you know me, I love Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But I can't, I'm sorry.
You can't follow him there.
I can't get behind it.
Also, though, you have to admit, though, it's not just Tom Cruise. Like, the Asian actors that are in it are so fucking good.
Oh, they're superb.
They're superb.
Ken Watanabe is in that, right?
Yeah.
See, that's kind of my problem with Last Samurai is it's such a good Japanese film. Mm-hmm. It's like, why did you put a white guy in it? Yeah, why did you put a white guy in it? Why is The Last Samurai a white guy?
Because it came out in 2003, and America was like, we're not going to watch a Japanese movie without a white man in it.
Alexis, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that like inspired? I'm using air quotes. Inspired by true events.
I mean,
that movie.
Sure.
Doesn't it open with like, this is based on like, there was a white guy in Japan once that bought a samurai sword.
There was a soulful white boy who went to Japan.
But isn't it like inspired from like a true story?
Yeah, my true story.
There's
Whenever I go to Japan,
there's definitely historical context within the movie.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure that the white guy storyline is based on true events, but I know that like the things that happen in the storyline surrounding like the Japanese people and what's going on with the empire at the time, like that stuff is all pretty historically, maybe not accurate completely, but you know, like in line.
I would say that, look, if you like The Last Samurai, but you're a little hung up on, and you probably should be, the white saviorism of it, check out Hulu's original Shogun, because that is
I know, I still need to watch that.
That is a feudal Japan film, or excuse me, show. It's so good, I think of it as a movie. That's a show where it's kind of, you think like, is this a white savior movie? Because there is a white character in it, and they play predominantly, but I really think, from where I think it's going, I think it's going to basically go the way of Dune, Frank Herbert's Dune, where it's like, oh, you think this is the guy that's going to save the day, but in actuality, it's all going to go terribly wrong.
This guy's bad news.
Yeah. So I really appreciate that. Check out the show. But this isn't the TV majors.
No,
it's the film majors.
It's the film majors, and we're talking about Hans Zimmer scores, and he did The Last Samurai.
I want to shout out one of my all-time favorites.
Your favorite?
My favorite. Earlier Hans Zimmer, True Romance, directed by Tony Scott. Dun, 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 dun.
It's been so long since I've seen. I haven't seen True Romance in like 10 years.
It's such a good movie. Written by Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. But directed by Tony Scott.
I'm looking around. I think he might be asleep.
But that is such a good movie. That is such a good movie. If you ever want to watch True Romance, just come over to our house. It's on the shelf. It's really good. Dennis Hopper has a great scene with Christopher Walken.
Man, we keep talking about Hopper.
But yeah, the first of all, the cast in this movie is fantastic, but we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the music. This is one of those songs that is associated with a movie because that's what it was written for, but so often they lift the song and use it to play over like a legacy trailer for like the best Fox movies are now released special collection, and they play the Hans Zimmer score. Or there was like an Oscars a few years ago that just played this song over something super special and wonderful. It's because this music is just so fantastic. It's like the Robin Hood track where they just use it for a lot of Disney commercials.
Yeah. I have a couple shout outs as well. I would say that
shout them out.
What up?
One would be also released in 2003, Matchstick Men with Nicolas Cage and Sam Rockwell. Because if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but Nicolas Cage's character has some form of, I think, OCD or...
Yeah.
And so the music really reflects like his state of mind, and the more frantic he becomes in the film as things progress in the plot, the more frantic the music becomes as well. And it kind of it keeps you in this sense of tenseness and anxiety that you are experiencing with the character that I thought was, even as a kid, you know, like looking back now, it's very strong score for the movie.
I gotta rewatch that movie. That's like
I don't think I've ever seen
underrated Ridley Scott movie.
Oh, it's a really Scott
Also,
movie.
has one of my favorite like actors of a moment who I thought was quite good, Alison Lohman.
I
who,
love her so much. She was in this movie in 2002 with Michelle Pfeiffer that was called White Oleander, which is based on one of my favorite books. And she's incredible. I'm just so surprised she's not in more things.
Alexis, we have very different Alison Lohman picks because I always think of Alison Lohman as the lead of Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. She is so good in that movie. I low-key think that might be why she's not acting anymore. It's not like she was like abused on set or anything.
It was
It's
traumatic.
just making a Sam Raimi horror movie is a contact sport. You're gonna get bugs sprayed in your mouth. You're gonna have a weird old lady ghoul like chew on your jaw. You're gonna end up in a grave. That movie, there's a really, really solid chance we might be talking about it later this year.
That movie just got you so hyped just now.
I love it. It's like, that's a movie that's rated PG-13, and it gets away with so much. Like, if anything, it makes Sam Raimi more creative.
You showed me that movie. I don't remember anything about it.
It is so fun. I like Drag Me to Hell more every single time I watch it.
But back to Hans Zimmer.
Indeed.
I'm going to shout out another one. Terrence Malick's Thin Red Line.
Also haven't seen it.
That, oh my God. Just listen to the theme of Thin Red Line, and it is one of the most heartbreaking, soulful, just laments that I've ever heard. It's so powerful and makes great trailer music because so many movies have used that song in their trailer, just like another Hans Zimmer score, Gladiator. You hear Gladiator music being used all the time to advertise other movies because it's that fucking good. Honestly, the director relationships that Hans Zimmer has had over the years is insane.
Yeah, Ridley Scott, Tony Scott, Christopher Nolan.
Gore Verbinski, because he did that's okay, fuck. Here's another. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep rattling another really underappreciated.
Rango.
I was gonna say no, The Lone Ranger.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
The music not a good movie, but the music.
The end roommate gave me a free copy of that, so it is on the shelf.
There is the William Tell overture in that movie during a train chase scene, and Hans Zimmer takes the William Tell overture and fucking goes hard in the paint with it. It's my favorite version of that overture is the Hans Zimmer scored one because oh my God, does he orchestrate the fuck out of that movie? God, I sound like such a nerd. This is pathetic. Well, unless we have anything else.
Alexis has something else.
Ooh.
I do, because I didn't mention my second shout out, and my second shout out is gonna get me a lot of flack, but I fucking love The Holiday.
That I remember having pretty good music.
I don't remember the music, actually.
I think it's like, at different times it's jaunty. I do think sometimes it's kind of like playing into the feeling of the scene, like a little too much, a little heavy handed. But
right.
I think that it leaves me with such a good feeling, and the parts where it is really jaunty really lifts my mood while I'm watching the movie. And I mean, I like the movie to begin with, like I don't care that it's like not great. But another one that I actually really want to go back and I want to rewatch this because I remember seeing this as a kid, but it's a 1992 movie, and I think it's with Elijah Wood as like I want to say like he's like 6 or 7 years old, but it's like him and his brother. The movie's called Radio Flyer. I think this is one of Hans Zimmer's first movies that he ever did.
I remember the name of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Radio Flyer.
They have this like dream of kind of like building this, like they have like obviously the Radio Flyer like wagon like we used to as kids. I don't know if you guys had one of those, like a metal wagon.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
And they kind of like fashion it as like a little aircraft, and they kind of pretend that they're going to like fly away. And it's kind of like insinuated I don't know if it's like more overt that there's like something abusive happening in the household. So
Yeah, I've heard that's an insanely dark movie.
The whole red flyer, that sounds lifted from Calvin and Hobbes strip, them like trying to convert that into an airplane. That sounds cool.
Yeah, so I I've looked at some of the reviews like online for that, and it seems like a kind of like middle ground like movie where it's like some people don't like it so much and some people think it's like okay. So I kind of want to go back and rewatch that because I do remember liking the movie quite a lot as a kid, maybe because there was kids in the movie, I don't know, and I was a sad girl, but. Yeah, so I'm gonna shout that out, and I'm gonna get back to you guys on whether or not that score holds up.
Please do. I love that. And actually, that's a great segue into the movie that we are talking about today. Speaking of kids and being a kid while watching it.
Good.
Today's film, this has been a long time coming, folks. We stopped off at the Zach Doc.
Yeah.
Because today we are talking about Brian Henson's Muppet Treasure Island. This is from 1996, and if you have not seen this movie, which would be odd, but here's a little synopsis for you. A reworking of Robert Louis Stevenson's classic tale in which the Muppets take to the high seas in search of buried treasure. Young Jim Hawkins is given a treasure map by a mysterious sailor and sets sail with his friends, the Great Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat. Among the crew is the mutinous sea dog Long John Silver, who has his own plans for the loot. Yeah, it's fine. They read the book, they saw the movie or whatever. It kind of gives away a lot. But that's okay. So this is a classic film. At least I know to Zach and myself. But let's go ahead and let's kick it off to Zach first, because you've really been hankering for this movie. What does this mean to you, Zach?
Well, last year, a little Filmmakers behind the scenes discussion occurred where Mick was like, I'm not sure if my week 3 boat month movie is going to be Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, or Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, you better do Muppet Treasure Island. Because I love it. Listen, I love Curse of the Black Pearl. It's like probably technically a better movie, but come on, man. We got to talk about the Muppets.
Hey.
I don't think I actually said that. I think I just said we better watch the Muppets.
You know, the funny thing is, I love Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, but I don't even know if I agree that it's a better movie than this. That's how much. Anyways, Zach, take it away.
Anyway, so I was quite disappointed when I learned that we were not discussing Muppet Treasure Island last year. And I was downright worried when I heard that this year Boat Month was going to largely focus on riverboat films, because I was like, I swear to God, Mick, I swear to fucking God, if you do me dirty like this and we don't talk about Muppet Treasure Island, the devil dances tonight.
The devil!
Oh my God.
But yeah, I have watched this movie since I don't know when it came out, 2 years before I was born. So it's probably always kind of been with me. We had it on VHS.
Did you steal it?
I believe that VHS was purchased probably at Goodwill.
Losers.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love this movie. I love the Muppets. They're some of my favorite actors. And I think that Disney has been squandering them so fucking hard and has not been following a formula that really worked between this and the last Muppet film we talked about, The Muppet Christmas Carol. Putting the Muppets in a work of classic literature is a recipe for comedy gold. Yeah, Alexis, you hadn't seen this movie before. What did you think, my friend?
Yes, so I did not grow up in a Muppet household. To be honest, I think I wasn't even like super big on Sesame Street until my nephew came along when I was 6, and he ended up being really into Elmo, and so I used to watch Sesame Street with him then. But I'd never seen any Muppet movies, so I fear that I may be too old to love this movie in the same way that you guys do. But
You're never too old for the Muppets.
Me and my sister, we did enjoy watching it. We did have some giggles. I did ask her, do you think if you had seen this when you were a kid? Because she'd never, like straight up, not a Muppet household. Like my sisters grew up in the 80s and like early 90s as like kids, and they'd never seen Muppet movies either.
That's so fucked up. Alexis, I'm like picturing like such a sad little like Dickensian childhood without the Muppets for you.
Yeah, you really are Tiny Tim.
I was strictly a Disney kid. And
These are Disney movies.
But like Disney animated, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just genuinely can't even think of like any like puppet things that I ever watched except for like the PBS Reading Between the Lions.
Never watched that.
Oh man, I just got so hype. Sorry, memory unlocked.
I used to love that show.
Also,
love
Bear in
free
the Big
TV.
Blue House fucking rules.
Oh, I fucking loved Bear in the Big Blue House. Ooh, I love the little outro. Okay, anyways, this is not the TV majors. This is the film majors.
This so indicates that not the TV majors, but the film majors thing runs all the way fucking back to my childhood because I didn't see any of this.
You missed out. I guess I got the full package over here. I don't know what's going on.
Big Blue House will be waiting
Anyways,
for you to
The movie, Alexis. The movie.
Alexis,
The movie, please.
Muppet Treasure Island.
Okay, I did ask my sister, like, hey, do you think if you had seen this as a kid, you would have loved it? And she was like, oh yeah, I would have been all over this. Because when she was growing up, there was this TV show called Dinosaurs that was also a puppet TV show. Yeah.
I love that show. Oh my god.
Yes.
Jessica Walters. Insane. That's also a Henson a TV show.
Yeah, I'm aware of Dinosaurs. I never saw it.
It's so funny. It's genuinely funny. Alexis,
yeah. So my sister grew up watching that, but somehow we just never had really seen the Muppets. She was Natalie said that she really was into Sesame Street when she was growing up, which makes sense. That would have been really big in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, I mean, I had a great time. Like, as soon as we kind of got like most of the character introductions, except for like the captain, I literally turned to my sister and I was like, when am I getting Miss Piggy?
Yeah,
she gets such a good intro.
Fantastic. One of the best intros.
Oh my god, incredible.
So I am more than happy to pick this movie because the funny thing is, it's been so long since I had seen this movie. I, like Zach, grew up with this film. My parents weren't like, they didn't really like the Muppets. I think it was just literally one of those things that I discovered on my own when I went to the VHS store.
Yeah, I think I have to credit my mom because I think she was a Muppets child.
Okay.
We ended up with like a box set of Muppet movies,
Tight.
or of the Muppet Show.
But yeah, I remember that between A Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island, these were two movies that were in constant rotation. And rewatching this, first of all, I was so relieved that not only does it really hold up to what I remember it being, but I genuinely think this is a great film. So much so that I actually watched it again last night just because I wanted to do it again.
That's true. I came back to the apartment and Mick was watching Muppet Treasure Island
two nights in a row, and I was like, because I want to see it again, because that I think is the mark of a good movie where you watch it one night and you're just thinking about it all day, going, "Fuck, man, I'm gonna roll that shit again." That's how good it is. And to your point, Alexis. Yeah. Last night on a watch, I actually asked myself, it was during the gunpowder sequence that I adore in the beginning of the movie. I was thinking, okay, Mick, just hold on. Don't get too excited. If you had not grown up with this movie, do you think you would, if this was your first watch, do you think you would vibe with it as much? And I know there's no way to prove this. I know that this is simply conjecture, but I genuinely believe in my Billy Bones that if I had not grown up with this movie and I was seeing it today, I would go, fuck, man, this shit slaps.
Okay.
Because it does. Go ahead.
I am potentially going to say something super fucking sacrosanct, but when I started this movie, I had a moment where I realized, like, oh yeah, this is Treasure Island, which is what Treasure Planet from 2003 is based on. So the whole time I watched the movie, all I could think about was all the differences between Treasure Planet and Treasure Island. I was a huge fan of Treasure Planet growing up. I had that on VHS. I loved that movie. So I think the bigness of the world of Treasure Planet and like space pirates, and also like skating was such a big thing, like during the like late 90s and into the early 2000s, and literally this kid in Treasure Planet is like space skateboarding basically through like half of it, was very exciting for me. I really loved that movie. So I think I did really enjoy Treasure Island, Muppet Treasure Island, but I think that I grew up so in line with Treasure Planet that it's kind of hard for me to separate the two.
See, now, Alexis, this doesn't feel sacrilegious coming from you. However, our roommate,
we
Jacoby,
had to talk about this.
Claims to be a Muppet guy. However, they were like, oh, you know, I think Treasure Planet, that's what it is. And I'm like, don't fucking pretend to ride for the Muppets if you're going to throw them under the bus right now, fuck.
This is what I'm saying, though, is that I think that Treasure Planet is a better, like, story than Treasure Island.
I can't even believe this.
God.
There's higher stakes. It's a better adventure. I think that the Muppets is like way more fun as like a children's, like really at its core, like children's movie. But
they're a great comedy troupe.
Actually there was quite a few things that I was like, that's hilarious still. But like, I still go back and watch Treasure Planet. I watched it with Jacoby while I was in town like a few months ago. Like,
of course you did.
I fuck with Treasure Planet so heavy. I still listen to one of the song that's like an early 2000s song that I think is by the Goo Goo Dolls. None of the music in Treasure
Planet is even remotely as good as the music that is in Muppet Treasure Island.
When you're a professional pirate.
But let me just say that.
I think I'm just also not very into the Muppets songs as you guys are.
Yeah, which is a huge mistake. It's a skill issue. So here's the thing. I was actually pitched. I don't want to call them out too much, but I'm going to do it really quickly. They were like, "Oh, you should do Treasure Planet instead of Muppet Treasure Island because that's also a boat movie." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the worst take I've ever heard."
Yeah, and
that
also
is not the worst take I've ever heard. That's the correct take.
If Mick did that, I would kill him.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, my life is on the line. But
secondly, what we should have had a double feature of Muppet Treasure Island.
The Muppets share the stage with no one.
I'm gonna choose Treasure Planet as a week of something somewhere.
That's fine.
That's fine. No, I like the movie.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I like the movie. Here's the thing, because Alexis, I grew up watching Treasure Planet as well, because I remember thinking like, oh, this is cool. This is a cool animated movie. Yeah. Funny enough, this might also seem sacrosanct, but like I thought that Treasure Planet was just a remake of Muppet Treasure Island, just without the Muppets.
It is.
And I remember thinking like, oh, this is cool. I remember thinking that like Treasure Planet is like, oh, this is like the cool version for like middle schoolers. Cause I was like in like maybe 4th or 5th grade. And I was thinking about middle school. I was like, this is what it's all about, I guess.
Yeah. But I also think.
But really quick, I just got to say, I gotta go really quickly though. Rewatching this said a lot about my childhood because, and it says a lot about my love of boats because as a kid watching this movie, I absolutely adored Long John Silver. Tim Curry as Long John Silver.
He's so good.
To me, as like a little, I think maybe like 4 or 5 or 6-year-old, because I remember watching this movie and thinking that Jimmy Hawkins was like a cool older kid. Like that dates how long I've been watching this movie. That he was an older kid than me. But I remember thinking that Long John Silver is the coolest guy. He's so cool. And so when it's revealed that for some reason as a kid I didn't see coming that he's the bad guy, because I was like, he has one leg, and it's probably just a coincidence. I was totally on board with this guy being a cool boat friend, and then when he betrays the crew, I remember crying as a kid, especially at the end. At at the end of the movie, when Long John Silver is pointing his pistol at Jimmy Hawkins and he's about
like,
to
"I
blow
can't
the
do
whistle,
it."
and their eyes are swelling up. They're swelling.
They're welling.
They're swelling. And I remember like on the verge of tears as a kid because it broke my heart. How could Long John Silver do that? And then when he's in the lifeboat at the end, I remember thinking, that's sad. I mean, I'm angry, but I don't want him to go. Like I was obsessed with the man. He was the first cool guy, right? So kids today,
he was the first cool guy.
The kids today, they have...
There weren't cool guys before that.
They have Tom Holland Spider-Man. They got Iron Man. They got Jake Paul. I had Long John Silver by Tim Curry. And then I graduated from that to Pirates of the Caribbean, and then Jack Sparrow was my guy. So looking back, I'm like, all of my cool guys were all gay pirates.
Gentlemen of fortune.
Oh my God.
It makes total sense because I was so obsessed with Muppet Treasure Island, and then when I was like, I think like maybe 5th or 6th grade, I then saw my Aunt Julie, if you're listening to this, I know you're not, but you gave me a DVD of Pirates of the Caribbean and I watched it, and then I was obsessed for like a year with Jack Sparrow and pirates again. It's all about the gay pirates. So anyways, I just had to say that this says so much about my DNA.
You know what? That makes sense because I feel like Treasure Planet probably says a lot about my DNA. I think if you have harder, like, more aggressive daddy issues, you're probably more of a Treasure Planet fan because I feel like the angst and like the relationship between Silver and him, I don't know. I feel like it's a little stronger in Treasure Planet, like emotionally at its core. But I also didn't grow up with Treasure Island, and also because while I was watching Treasure Island, when I look at Tim Curry, all I can think about is Rocky Horror Picture Show, but when I hear his voice, all I can think about is the Wild Thornberrys.
Smashing!
I love Tim Curry in this film so much, and I watched the behind the scenes of this movie.
Rick, do that again.
Smashing! Take it away.
So,
hold for the applause.
Brian Henson said something that I have said in the past about this movie, essentially, of Tim Curry, where he goes, Tim's very like a Muppet performer. He likes to be big. He likes to upstage to win. And he kind of talks about how when you're performing as the Muppets, it's kind of opposite to regular acting where your goal is to, share the scene with your partner and to give and to listen and to not upstage. And when you are a Muppet performer, it is the exact opposite. It is an aggressive fight to see who can grab attention from the audience.
Yeah.
And he said that Tim Curry is very capable and willing to go there and do that. And then it cuts to an interview of Tim Curry, and it's the one moment in this behind the scenes reel where someone gets bleeped out because he goes, if you're going up against the Muppets, you better be pretty fucking big. And he definitely goes there in this movie. The bit where he is performing professional pirate and he tells his, castmates, upstage, lads. This is my only number.
So good. Yeah, and I like what you're saying because there are two pillars of successful acting with Muppets. The other one is A Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine.
Yes.
Who approaches what you're talking about differently.
Yes. Yeah. So you can either, the ways to act with Muppets are either you treat the Muppets as though they are simply fellow actors in a conventional sense.
The Michael Caine method.
Yes. You play it straight.
Totally straight, yeah. You
share the scene with your scene partner, or you go the Tim Curry route and you yourself become a Muppet.
The Curry method.
And both are entirely satisfying.
They're both amazing. They're so good.
I do love the physicality of the Muppets. One of the first things that was making me giggle at the beginning of the movie was me turning to Natalie and saying, like, I just love the way that they run because they're like
Yeah.
Just like bouncing up and down like so aggressively. I don't know what it is, but it feels so silly.
It is still it's fun and zany as they say, but yeah, going back to that scene I mentioned briefly, where they're dropping the gunpowder when they're trying to load the musket.
The opening where the inn they work at is attacked by pirates.
When them and the pirates, Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat are being chased by this pirates, but then they're being chased by this spark that the gunpowder has been ignited. That visual gag of them running makes me laugh so hard every time. Again, I saw it again last night. I was laughing it's just so good. The bits in this are great. Like bland pew.
It's some sort of a blind fiend.
I think they prefer visually impaired fiend.
Visually challenged fiend.
It's so good. Oh my god.
Billy Bonds!
As soon as I saw, is it Beaker?
Yeah, speaker.
Oh my god! I turned to my sister and I was like, "He's my favorite." Me.
If you had asked child Zach who his favorite Muppet was, 10 times out of 10, I would have said Beaker. He was my boy. Now as a man, I feel as though my favorite Muppet, which, is an important thing to consider as, you start to get older and you start to mature. I think that Gonzo,
the great
Gonzo, is Gonzo the Great for a reason. Mick was saying this, and I might tend to agree that I might actually like Gonzo in this movie more than I like him in Christmas Carol.
Gonzo's a fucking freak.
He's on his freak shit.
He gets to be such a freak in this movie. In a sexual sense.
Yeah, he's so turned on by everything.
They're literally
he has demons? Cool.
They're like pulling his arms and his legs in opposite directions, and it's just stretching him. And he's like, oh, and they're like, let's stop. He likes it.
This ain't working. He likes it.
I don't know. There was just something very relatable about that,
You were texting us during your watch about how you enjoyed what a freak Gonzo is, and I was like, I could have seen this coming. The bit where they get captured by the pigs on the island, and Rizzo's like, well, this is just great. Captured by wild boars and about to be hideously sacrificed before a pagan altar. And then Gonzo goes, I know, are we lucky or what?
Yeah. And when they're doing the boom shakalaka, he just chimes in with it when they're coming in to sacrifice him.
Eaten.
Yeah, I think this is a good moment to just pause, take a step back, and appreciate this podcast that we all share as friends, because every now and then we're gifted with a terrific nugget, like Alexis going, I just love Gonzo. His freak shit, it's just so relatable. Like that's a good take. This is what we bring to the internet. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alexis.
You're welcome.
But yeah, no. Gonzo, when they're eating apples in the barrel, he's like, this is weird. Rizzo the Rat goes, what? Because, what's his name? Fucking the eagle.
Mr. Arrow.
Yeah. Oh, because Mr. Arrow has died. He's like, yeah. But also, I have starfish in my pants.
Oh my god. Yes, at the very end when he's throwing starfish, I would turn to my sister. I was like, oh yeah, he had starfish in his pants. Like, just casually.
Yeah, he stuffed him down his trousers.
Yeah,
because he's a freak for real.
He's a total freak in this. It's absolutely good. I love Fuzzy Bear. He's fantastic in this. Mr. Bimbo. It's like
what a rich half-wit son's for.
Yeah, we want to sail the ocean. Oh, that big blue wedding. It's like, and the way the characters look at each other like, this guy's a fucking idiot. What are we doing?
Two things. One, I'm sad that I didn't watch this movie more while I was watching Succession, because I really should have referred to Kendall Roy as a rich half-wit son.
Yes, absolutely.
And two, Mick has been working on his Fozzie Bear, and I would like to commend him, because that is a very good Fozzie Bear.
That was really good.
Thank you.
I told my sister
buddy.
after we finished the movie, I was like, you know what I need to do before the end of the year? I really need to work on a Miss Piggy accent, because I think it's just so fun. She's great.
Yeah. We all need to embody a Muppet. So I got Fuzzy Bear. You got Miss Piggy. Who are you gonna do?
I don't know. I feel like Gonzo is as Muppet voices go, kind of a subtle one.
Yeah, it is.
But maybe that's the one. Maybe that's the one to master.
Well, you know what's amazing, and this isn't just accolades for this movie. This is just Muppet movies in general. When you look at the performers, the puppeteers and the voice actors, there's no that actor does that character, that actor does that character. They have maybe like a troupe of 6, 7, 8 people that do all of the voices.
Well, yeah.
And that is insane to me.
Yeah.
Frank Oz alone does both Fozzie and Miss Piggy and Sam the Eagle.
That's insane.
And Steve Whitmire, who took over Kermit after...
he does Rizzo the Rat, too,
yeah,
right?
after
crazy.
Jim Henson passed, he does Rizzo the Rat, and he does Beaker.
Interesting.
My man.
My man Beaker.
Okay, also, human performer, a couple of sidebars. One,
Yes.
when I was watching the behind the scenes, I was absolutely delighted by Billy Connolly, who plays Billy Bones.
This movie made me
Yes.
fall in love with Billy Connolly.
And there's an interview of him where he goes, I have 2 scenes with Gonzo, which was like going to heaven for me. You grab his nose. It's so hard to keep it together because you grab his nose and his eyes go sideways.
Brian Henson called me. Oh, fuck that.
Brian
That's so
Henson
good.
called me and he said, I want you to be in the Muppet Treasure Island, which is something I'd always wanted to do.
My God.
So, yeah, love
Great comedian, by the way. Watch Billy Connolly stand up. Too,
Love
if you haven't.
him. And also, I want to shout out Jennifer Saunders.
Yes.
Who,
yes. I'm glad you brought this up.
Did not I knew I recognized the name.
I think that's why I was low key attracted to her.
Didn't recognize her. All right. Well,
No, I mean it.
Wow.
she plays Mrs. Blovridge, who.
How does she do that?
Yeah, she runs
with really
the-
great hearing.
In the beginning. She voices 2 iconic animated characters from my childhood.
Yeah.
One being the fairy godmother in Shrek 2.
With a great singing voice.
And 2 being the other mother in Coral. Or no, sorry, not the other mother. She does Miss Spink in Coraline.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And our British listeners, Jennifer Saunders of Absolute Fabulous fame, which is a TV
Also-
show. That's how she got her start.
Can I just say that good little crossover for Hans Zimmer? I was trying to place where I knew Billy Connolly from, and I realized it was The Last Samurai, but then also it was The Boondock Saints.
Boondock
That's
Saints.
right.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's a movie
We
I've
gotta
never
pick
seen.
that for something.
I've never seen it.
Listen,
Crazy.
Incredible.
I don't know if that counts for Blockbuster Month, but listen, that's I don't pick all the movies for Blockbuster Month.
Thank you for giving Saunders a shout out, because that's blew my mind actually when I saw it 2 nights ago with you. I was like, oh my God, that's the woman that sings I Want a Hero or something like that from I Need a Hero from Shrek 2. Such a good voice. But speaking of music, Alexis, you just name dropped Hans Zimmer, which is what our whole big topic was about. That's why we chose that topic, was for this movie. This film has a kick-ass score. Hans Zimmer goes way harder than he needs to for this movie.
Feels like this was his lab in which he perfected the Pirates of the Caribbean score.
Honestly, if I had to guess, because we all know how being a creative works, I wonder if the Pirates of the Caribbean score that Hans Zimmer wrote and then gave to his protege Klaus something, I forget his last name. Vidal, I think something like that. Yeah, might have been the rejected track, or the track that maybe he came up with that decided to not go that route and chose his perhaps preferred one for Muppet Treasure Island. I wonder if he had that in his pocket from Muppet Treasure Island. Well, there was this one theme that I decided to not go with that could work. I have like Hans Zimmer's like, I'm sitting on another Pirates theme that I haven't used yet, and then it became that. Which the music for Muppet Treasure Island is so good,
and the songs are so good.
The opening song,
"Shiver my timbers, shiver my soul."
The rock guitar that comes in and the drums. It's so, dude. I get chills watching that opening dance
tell
number.
no tales.
Okay, so when I was a kid, and you get to that bit where the captain shoots his own crew members after starting to bury the treasure after this kick-ass song.
It's so good.
I remember distinctly, because it unlocked a memory for me. When I was a kid, I remember watching that going, oh, man, this is an adult's Muppet movie. Because it's serious and dark, which, now I look back on it, I'm like,
you were right.
Well, yeah, this is absolutely their serious movie.
Yeah.
But no, that
it's
opening.
their Empire Strikes Back.
You know, it's so funny. We were just talking about on 2 episodes ago on Ghost Ship some of the best cinematic openings. Muppet Treasure Island.
Rules.
Hello.
Rules.
Talk about a fantastic
Muppet
way to
Christmas
kick it
Carol
off.
too, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, they're just so good.
When a cold wind blows and chills you to the bone. Oh, man.
Also, Cabin Fever. We love Cabin Fever.
Banger number. I'm still gonna say I think Professional Pirate is my favorite song in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It would have convinced me if I were young Jim Hawkins to throw my lot in with the Pirates.
Absolutely.
Because
when you're a professional pirate,
you'll be honest, brave, and free, and most importantly, when you're a professional pirate,
Tim Curry is such a good singer.
you're always in the best of company. Yeah, he just has the voice of an angel.
He's got that stage presence.
Yeah, in the song where they're casting off, you have young Jim kind of sing his bit, and it's
Oh yeah, when they're in the crow's nest
fine.
up there.
It's
he carries his own. He's got a good voice.
Yeah, he's a young kid singing a song, and then Tim Curry just comes in and fucking blows it out of the water.
Yeah,
pun intended. He is so good. I also enjoy, speaking of Tim Curry, how we low-key imply that him and Miss Piggy fucked.
Absolutely.
Did you catch that, Alexis?
Oh, there was a lot there. I also was I turned to my sister, I was like, wow, Miss Piggy's such a tart.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
The bit where she just goes...
It's implied that she hooked up with not only Flint but Long John Silver.
Long John?
Yeah.
Really just stretches out the long.
And then Kermit says something and she's like, dude, you didn't wait for me. I needed to be committed. I don't know. She that she needed a committed man. He left her at the altar or whatever,
Oh, right.
After the whole Long John Silver little thing.
I got cold feet. You're a frog. Your feet are supposed to be cold. Whatever. Tie him back to the sticks.
Yeah, it's so good.
The bit where which also impressive technical feat when they're being hung from the trees and they have their little number, and then Miss Piggy falls off the cliff and Kermit catches her and she's like, oh, Kermit, you saved me, and then it just pans up to Kermit's eyes literally swelling, bulging out of his fucking head.
I love it when they swap out the eyes on Muppets, because there's another bit when Jimmy Hawkins, he gets the map and then Gonzo's eye, his pupils become dollar signs. Is we're gonna be rich, and then Rizzo the Rat's eyes are
gonna be dead,
or just X's. That's come on, that's good bits. These are great bits.
They're great actors. They're my favorite comedy troupe.
Yeah, honestly, the puppeteering is insane in this. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. When they're trying to put out the lantern in the beginning, and Rizzo is on top of Gonzo and Gonzo is on top of Jimmy Hawkins. Yeah. And it's how are they still being puppeteered? Because they are.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I do love the subplot of the rats on vacation. It's very fun. Like every time they like just kind of like pop up, like when they come by as if they're taking a tour of the island and they're taking pictures and they're like, this is actually where the Muppets Treasure Island movie was filmed, you know? And then also when they're on the boat and after, I think it's after whatever number that they had, and they're like on the steps and I was like, oh my God, isn't this a children's movie? They're necking. Like it's giving very like 50s, like after the dance. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
Hey, buddy, would you kill with the booze? You're peeling the paint off the shuffleboard cord.
Oh man, the bit where Jim brings the captured pirates who tried to kill Rizzo and Gonzo. He's like, here's your bread and water, but I ordered shrimp scampi.
Oh yeah, that's good. Also, I love Clueless Morgan. I forgot how much I love Clueless Morgan. Like for some reason
I could have been in politics because I always been a big spender.
And me, I could have been a contender.
Like I love that bit. But roll call is such a good scene where you have what's the old guy? Old Tom.
Old Tom.
Really old Tom. Dead Tom. And then you have Clueless Morgan. Huh? Headless Jim. Headless Jim.
He salutes him because he's got no fucking head. Who hired this crew?
So good. Yeah, it's man, I just love so much of this movie. It's just fantastic.
A few more things about the development and production of this.
Yeah, tell us some behind the scenes because I don't know a lot.
So apparently when they initially wrote the script, it was bouncing off of Muppet Christmas Carol, where they were like, okay, we should adapt another classic work. And initially in the script, they wrote Gonzo and Rizzo as Jim and Hawkins.
Okay.
So there was no Jim Hawkins, and eventually they were like, okay, we need this to like be a story. It's a story about a boy becoming a man, and that doesn't really work with a rat and a whatever.
Right.
So I think that they did make the right choice with that, because I feel like in a Muppet movie, you need someone to be, at least in the Muppet like literary adaptations, I think you need someone to play sort of that grounding force. Yeah, and it sure as shit isn't Tim Curry.
No.
So I think they went the right way with having this kid play Jim.
Kevin Bishop.
Yeah, who I think is good in the movie.
I agree. I think, honestly, he doesn't bring down the movie at all. I think he totally holds his own, and I'm never annoyed with him on screen. Yeah. He totally works. I like his performance. Sure. I like what he brings.
Alexis, do you have different thoughts?
You disagree?
Yeah, I you know what? I would never want to make any sort of criticisms on a child actor when they are doing their best, but I don't believe he really did anything of noteworthy in acting after this, and I would say that his singing voice leaves a little bit to be desired, but that is fine. It's perfectly okay for a child.
I think he functions in the way that he needs to in this movie. I am not mad that he is here.
He's 43 years old now.
I'm gonna walk into the ocean. Am I 43 years old?
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's been 84 years.
That's a good Bill Paxton.
Thank you. But also, the way they shot this was they built, I believe they said a 12-foot ship, which feels small. But they built a somewhat smaller scale ship model, which they shot on a gimbal in a studio and then composited into shots that they had a second unit shoot in the Caribbean. And apparently, everyone who was like in a warehouse in London was like, "Oh man, we're jealous of the Caribbean unit."
Yeah, the Hispaniola.
Yes. But yeah, that's sort of the main the behind the scenes to this movie that I found on YouTube are funny because they are sort of conducted by Gonzo and Rizzo. And I guess the one other thing was just them talking about how complex that shot of Kermit and Piggy hanging off of the cliff was. There were a lot of strings that had to be painted out. And yeah, I think that holds up and looks great.
I loved, like you said earlier, her entrance because, here comes the boom shakalaka pigs, right? And we have had no Miss Piggy in this movie so far, and I was, let me tell you, itching for her presence. And we have like a little taste because Kermit keeps like a little hand painting of her at his desk in his like officer's quarter or whatever, right? But then as soon as I saw this like giant vessel filled with flowers, I was just like, there she is! I know it's her!
Yeah, Tim Curry had a really funny line where he was like, God knows Miss Piggy is a diva, but Frank isn't far behind. She's rubbed off on his personality. It's sort of a chicken and the egg scenario where you're like, is Piggy influenced by Frank, or has Frank been influenced by Piggy after all these years?
I love that. I love that take or whatever dynamic that is that's going on there.
Yeah, the symbiosis of Muppeteer and Muppet.
Her outfit is just like fire flames. Like the feathers, the fucking pearls, the gold Spanish doubloons that she has on her pearls, and then the almost like animal print tight dress. Like, it's just the perfect Halloween costume. Wait, what'd you say?
Sorry, I'm just watching Mick get horny as you're talking about Miss Piggy.
No, he got horny because I talked about Spanish gold doubloons. Let's get real.
No, he said her mini skirt.
Honestly, it just I just think
she is she's giving.
She's a queen.
The leopard print is doing wonders for her figure.
Jesus,
it does, doesn't it?
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh man, Mick wants to pork her. Anyways,
that was too far. Wow, crossed the line.
Here's
skated right.
Here's a question for everyone that I think could have also been our big topic if I had thought of this earlier, but I want to pose this question now.
Okay.
Who is a contemporary celebrity figure who you would like to see act across from the Muppets? Once we answer this, I have one follow-up question.
Okay. A contemporary actor that we want to see
act with the Muppets
as the main human character, or just one.
They just to be in something with the Muppets.
Alexis, do you have any ideas? I mean,
You guys go first. I think I need to think about this for a second.
I've got a pretty definitive one.
I have one that I was going to throw out that I'd like to see play around with the Muppets, but Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll. Okay, we're in a similar boat because mine is John Mulaney.
I was thinking of John.
I think that John Mulaney should act with the Muppets because I think that the Muppets have, I think maybe this is part of why I was always a Muppets kid and never really got into Sesame Street, is the Muppets kind of have a mean streak.
Yeah.
I feel like the Muppets are mean to each other and people.
Well, it's like a great example of that is like, I hate, when Jimmy Hawkins is like, I hate my life. And Gonzo's like, yeah, I hate your life too. And there was Red, if I had a life, I'd hate it. Yeah. It's kind of that, there's a subtle meanness to it.
And I think John Mulaney has that same thing. And he would take it. He would go the Michael Caine route, I believe, of treating the Muppets as fellow actors and celebrities.
And Nick Kroll would go the Curry method, where he would be a Muppet.
Yes, he's already almost there.
Wow. Yeah, no, I would watch that for sure. Honestly, I think I need to watch some of the other Muppet movies because I've seen other ones. There was one that came out recently where they like go to Russia.
Muppets Most Wanted?
But I liked Muppets Most Wanted.
Yeah, kind of fun.
That was a good one. I didn't see the one with
Jason Segel?
Yes, I missed that one.
I don't like that one as much.
What's that called?
The Muppets.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like going the Muppets the first one.
Basically.
But it's not the first one.
No.
Yeah.
The first Muppets. It's like the first Purge.
Okay, here's another question.
Wait,
Alexis, you have a pick?
Okay. So I think somebody who could be as mean as the Muppets would be Rachel Sennett.
I can see that.
Like, she could be just like a raging cunt in comparison. Like, she just plays like such a good bitch in movies.
Her going up against Miss Piggy. Her
Rachel
going
Sennett,
up against
okay.
Miss Piggy would be
Yes,
incredible.
But
If you're not
I
as good with
think-
her name, that's from Bottoms
I think
and Shiva Baby.
I think for like a character that I would be very interested in seeing them like almost play it straight across from them, I would have to go with somebody like super British. So it would have to be like Florence Pugh or Keira Knightley.
I was going to say Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
I think
Oh my God! Yes, actually, that's the
Yeah.
correct answer. The Rachel Sennett or Phoebe Waller-Bridge would be really good female picks.
1,000%.
this is the most I've ever wanted, like a job doing red carpet interviews.
Just ask everyone, would you be in a Muppet movie?
I just have such a strong feeling that Florence Pugh actively wants to be in something with the Muppets. She feels
I feel like she'd be really good, like personality-wise, to be in one.
I do too, but like just in terms of her general vibe, she seems like
She has
someone
Muppet energy.
who would
She
be
does.
excited to work with the Muppets.
I think because
Okay.
I've seen her in a lot of very serious roles, but if you've ever seen like her interviews, she's a very free
She's a goofball.
person. Yeah, she's
Yes,
a goofball.
she's bubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would really enjoy
Just
seeing
look at who
her.
she
I think.
dated. It's a fucking clown.
God, leave him alone. Don't make me defend Zach Braff.
What?
Nobody
gonna.
wants
Yeah, I was
to
going to
defend
say,
Because I won't.
you would never do that.
Because I will
You
not
would
do
never
that.
do that. Don't make me because I won't. That's good.
Don't put
Okay.
me in a position
Hold
where
on.
I have to, because I can't.
Here's a follow-up question. So these are some really good names that we just threw out that should be in the next Muppet movie. But Zach made a good point, and I completely agree that the secret sauce is adapting famous...
You're gonna ask the exact question
Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
famous
next.
literary adaptations. What should the Muppets adapt next?
I feel like you could just totally know exactly what I would pick for something.
Is it Jane Austen?
I think you're right, low
Duh.
key.
Duh.
Yeah, because there's that meme that I've sent before where the Great Gonzo is in place
Of
of
Keira Knightley.
no of fucking the guy. Why am I
Matthew
Darcy.
McFadden?
Matthew McFadden? Yeah, Mr. Darcy. Where Gonzo is Mr. Darcy. I would totally buy that. Or I guess it would probably be Kermit and Miss Piggy. But I feel like it'd be funnier if it was Gonzo.
I think that Kermit and Miss Piggy would have to be Mr. and Mrs. Bennett.
Oh, I could see
Interesting.
that.
Yeah.
They'd
Yeah, no,
have
Miss
to
Piggy's
be.
definitely Mrs. Bennett.
She's definitely
1000%
Mrs.
Mrs.
Bennett,
Bennett.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Pride and Prejudice. There's
Pride and
one.
Prejudice.
Zach.
I think you cast Animal as Mr. Darcy for the record.
Okay, there you go.
What's wrong with this
I don't know.
Mr. Darcy?
I think Beaker would be a good Mr. Darcy.
I was thinking Beaker.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, so
Zach, what's your literary adaptation?
another film that we have, another book that we have covered an adaptation of on this very podcast in our first year. Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think that I think the thing about the literary work you have to pick, and why I think Pride and Prejudice is such a good pick, is that you need something that has a lot of characters, like a lot of central characters where you can fill those roles with Muppets. And I think Bram Stoker's Dracula, like you've got Mina, Lucy, Jonathan Harker, the guy at the asylum, Van Helsing, who, by the way, that's where you cast Gonzo.
Right.
Like, you've got all of these great roles, and then I think this is where we finally cast Mads Mikkelsen in the role he was born to play as Dracula.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Dracula's the guy we cast as a person.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we need to cast 2 people.
Wait, who would be? I would honestly put Gonzo possibly as Renfield. Maybe. Or Rizzo the Rat. I'm not sure.
Oh man, yeah. Who do you cast as Renfield?
Oh no. It's Fuzzy Bear.
Fuzzy Bear.
Fuzzy Bear is 1,000%. Is 1,000% Renfield.
The Master.
Oh, hello.
The Master is coming to England.
That's a really good pick. I think I would like to see adapted Disney's The Muppets, Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin's American Prometheus, The Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer, I think would be such a good Muppet movie. Because there's so many characters that could totally be. Can you imagine? I just want to see Beaker working on plutonium.
Get Dr. Bunsen and Beaker fucking out of there.
They're absolutely the ones. Either that or American Diplomacy.
I know Kermit the Frog, and if he could do it all over, he'd do it all the same.
I think they could also adapt Henry Kissinger's Diplomacy, which, by the way,
was a funny bit in the movie.
That's a great bit in Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah. Oh man, do you just okay? If you're doing Muppets Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
do you cast Kermit in the Cillian Murphy Oppenheimer role and keep Downey Jr.? Or do you keep Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy and everybody else is Muppets?
I think Robert Downey Jr. stays.
I think it's just like it feels like too good an opportunity to not put Cillian Murphy next to Muppets.
I honestly think if they reshot it, Cillian Murphy stays. Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. both stay, and they both play it word for word, beat for beat, the exact same. Everything else is just Muppet characters, which would be funny because when Emily Blunt's character has a flashback to Oppenheimer getting fucked by Florence Pugh's character, it's clearly a Muppet. It's like I think that would be Miss Piggy.
No, Miss Piggy is definitely Kitty. Pull yourself together.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Throwing a glass.
absolutely.
That's
there
true.
are people counting on you.
I don't like your turn of phrase. Hi-ya!
So this, I guess, is my final sort of thesis statement and my message to Walt Disney Studios.
Mm-hmm.
You are squandering the Muppets.
Yeah.
The Muppets are a valuable fucking resource.
They're sitting on a mountain of gold.
You are not allowing some of our finest actors to perform. And you need to bring them back into the limelight. And you need to follow the formula that Brian Henson laid out after his late father's passing, which is that if you put the Muppets, give them meaty material, give them adult, thoughtful material, make the Muppets Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Do it.
Totally.
Give them literary material to work with, and we will show up. We, the film majors, will advertise for you
1,000%.
for free.
100%.
But, well, pay us.
It's the one thing we'll do for you, Bob Iger. The one and only thing.
Literally not even a Muppets person, but do you know how fucking fast I would buy a ticket to Muppets Pride and Prejudice? Jesus Christ.
Absolutely, yeah. I would be there. I would be there yesterday. I would go to an early access screening of that. I would absolutely adore that. That'd be great. Clearly Disney is sitting on a mountain of Spanish doubloons that they're not doing anything with.
Yeah, do Hamlet.
Yeah, or Macbeth. I think that would be good. I think they need to do a Shakespeare adaptation for sure.
It would be so good.
But I think I'm good on this movie. Does anyone else have anything else they want to say about Brian Henson's Muppet Treasure Island?
Final thoughts.
Alexis.
Thank you again for making me watch a Muppet movie, because if it weren't for you guys, I probably would have never seen any Muppet movies. So good on you. Good on you.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to kick that gratitude over even further. Thank you, Zach, for being so insistent that this be a boat month movie. It was always going to happen, but I'm glad we pulled the trigger this month because honestly, on a rewatch, it just reignited my passion for this, and I was so relieved that I am still absolutely in love with this film.
It's a thrilling high seas adventure. It's got a great, practically made, tangible boat.
Yeah.
It is not just a great Muppet movie. It is a great movie.
It's a great boat movie.
It is a great boat movie.
Yeah.
And if you are a parent, don't make the mistake that Alexis's parents made.
Yeah.
Show your children the Muppets so that Alexis can feel this joy, so that you can feel the joy that we feel now.
Yeah.
Don't deprive your child of the Muppets.
I once went with a girl that had kids, and I showed her kids this movie because they weren't a Muppet family either, and they didn't like it. Which I think that just shows exactly why that relationship failed. It was just going nowhere.
The kids are not all right.
The kids were not all right.
The kids are not all right.
My
it's
nephew
okay,
definitely fell asleep at the very beginning of this movie.
What is happening with kids these days?
Oh my god, that's the problem with kids these days.
Wait,
no
Muppet,
focus.
Muppet Treasure Island is a movie for
Wait.
adults. They don't have the... What?
Do Nigel Thornberry again.
No! I don't want to. Smashing. Okay. One last shout out. I have to say, little footnote here. I want to commend the pacing of this movie. As with other Muppet movies, the pacing is just so tight. It wastes no time. So well done, Brian Henson and the many, many filmmakers and crew that were responsible for making this. I think I'm going to use that word, masterpiece.
Hell yeah. Now, before we get to our final film of Boat Month, we have a few orders of business. Film Major's business.
Oh, I love Film Major's business.
One is that we have a YouTube channel now.
That's right. Yeah, go onto YouTube.
Look
Follow
up
us.
the Film
Subscribe.
Majors podcast. You might have to look up one of our early episode names to find it, since we're just getting on the site, or go to our link tree on any of our social media platforms, Film Majors Pod, and go to our YouTube channel and subscribe and like the videos, boost us in the algorithm.
And also comment. I want to see you guys make some jokes.
Yeah, we
or
can
something.
now see your thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mick has been hard at work uploading some of our older episodes. So if you want to go back and listen to where this all started, now that we're 86 episodes in,
Jesus,
you can how about that? You can go back and check those out. Also, our TikTok is now back up. And
fantastic.
We should have some videos on there. Film Majors Pod on TikTok as well. So. Those are some little bits of Film Majors business. Mick, how have you been enjoying our early episodes?
I have to say, having to now go through from the very beginning each episode, I have to listen to so I can make chapters for them so that listeners can kind of scroll around and find the part of the episode that they like best, that suits them. And that requires listening to us. I have to, every episode,
it's a lot
I
of
have
hours.
to comb through. It's a lot of hours. And I honestly have to say, as grating as we all are, we're not great. I'm just kidding. We're great.
Yeah.
We are great. Great. I'm having a blast listening to our humble beginnings. And listeners, I hope you join me on that adventure and go back and listen to some of our earlier stuff, because even though, our What's Going On segments, we talk about new releases or whatever, but these are going to be timeless. They're always relevant. These movies are always going to be accessible, and our conversations are going to always be something that I think is fun to engage in. So I've been having an absolute blast working on the YouTube channel. It's been a lot of work. And yeah, please subscribe, like, comment, all of the things.
So, Mick.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten our business out of the way.
Oh, man.
What harbor... I assume we're out at sea for the end of Boat Month, right?
We are currently out at sea, but for our last adventure, we're heading back to the nearest port. And we're going to be going upriver.
Upriver. We got to get back onto land.
We have gone up the river in the Pacific Islands. We started. we have, because it was shot on the Philippines. I'm
Yes.
referring to.
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
And we have also gone upriver in Africa. We're going all around the world. But for this last river, we are going to South America.
Ooh, where are we
We
going?
are going back to 1982's Werner Herzog's Fitzcarraldo.
Oh, shit!
Starring the interesting
Klaus Kinski.
So we've been having so this is going to round out our trilogy.
This has been on my list forever. Like, man, you're really knocking some off that I've been procrastinating on.
You know, it's funny you say that because this is actually a Film Major's first. This is the first boat movie I've pitched that I myself have never seen. And Alexis, you have a look of a bit of confusion. I'm assuming you have not seen this movie as well.
Puzzlement I'm seeing.
I have not seen it, have not heard of it.
So all three of us are going to be going in completely dry. And I feel we're going to come out pretty wet. Because from my understanding, this adventure gets a bit hairy. But I've heard great things about this movie. In fact, actually, one of the reasons I picked it was because recently I saw an interview with Brad Pitt, and he was talking about how this is one of his all-time favorites.
Well,
And also, this is our first Werner Herzog film.
yeah, this is the first Werner Herzog movie I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I love the man's personality, but I've never seen a Herzog movie.
Yeah, I've only ever seen his documentaries, so this is my first narrative that I've seen from him. So yeah, we had a good, fun middle part of Boat Month, but this month is going to be bookended by some pretty gnarly jungle adventures. So buckle up, folks.
Where can you find this film, Mick?
You can find it on our sponsor. Hopefully one day. Tubi, sponsor the show. You can find it for free. Oh, you can also find it for free on Sling TV, Peacock, Fandango, or Amazon Prime. Wow, it's free everywhere. Hell, you have no excuse to not watch this. You can find it anywhere you find your movies.
Watch the damn movie, listeners. And if you want to find us, the Film Majors, on social media, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and once again on TikTok. We're back there. I've been making little snippets of episodes for you guys. So get to listening, get to following us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, comment on it, give us a rating on Spotify and all your podcatchers. Boost us. We've been at this for so long.
Yeah, it feels good to be able to finally say all of this. Like, we're on everything.
We are
so
on. You have no fucking excuse anymore. All right. And with that,
we'll see you next week.
Bye.